So I don't know how many of you, probably people my age or maybe a little older, remember Marlo Thomas. She had a program called Free to Be You and Me. She had I think it was a TV program and a song and album. And she was quite famous in the 70s when my son was young enough to really enjoy that kind of music. So that's where I've got the title of this particular class is from her song Free to Be You and Me. And what is it that sets up the conditions for freedom and for contraction? So Gabor Maté, one of our favorites, as children, we traded authenticity for attachment in order to survive. So the truth is that as children, we need secure attachments with parents. It could be whoever our adults are. Our primary caregivers who are reliable, interested, caring, who connect with us, who look up from their screens when we come in the door, who smile, who want to know what's going on with us, and who are protective. So it's not exactly what we need to have a parent as a best friend, although a friendship can be certainly part of parenting. We need parents, people who are more emotionally regulated, who can help us to co-regulate, who will come to us when we're crying, whether that's as a baby or as a teenager, and who notice us, who pay attention, who attune to us. So let's jump right into this. So first of all, just to regulate your own nervous system, maybe you've already been doing that for the last few minutes. And Stephen Porges talks about the fight, flight, freeze part of our nervous system. We can really only connect with ourselves and other people when we're out of fight, flight, freeze. So doing something to bring us out, to regulate our emotions is a good idea, and it's really helpful. So as we're doing all of the inquiries today, see if you can really stay aware of your own breathing. You can always tap on your forehead, just a couple fingers on the forehead, and bring your attention into the sound and sensation. Or if you know other forms of EFT, you could do that as well. Breathing, very helpful. So notice what your experiences were. For many of us, is that we didn't have a secure attachment when we were a child. What comes up for you when you read that or when you hear that? I didn't have secure attachment when I was a child. They didn't seem to know or care who I was. So here we're talking about emotional neglect. And for some, we had also, they hurt me and they allowed others to hurt me. So notice what your experience was, how you would say, yes, that's where I was as a child. I didn't have secure attachment. I had no one protecting me. Or maybe it was in the middle somewhere. It was ambivalent. It's sometimes yes, sometimes no. So to tune into that and notice what that does in your body and your breath. Take a few deep breaths. One of the first things that we notice is that often we'll stop breathing. We'll hold our breath when something difficult comes in. So to keep your breath moving is very helpful in regulating. So this next part is very true as well. We form beliefs based on our experiences. So if we felt unloved for whatever reason, it could be that, our parents were too messed up and they really didn't have any capacity for love. It could also be that they were working a lot, they were depressed, there was abuse in the family. There's a lot of pressures that lead parents to not be able to attune with their children. And then children believe certain things because of that. So if we felt unloved, we probably formed a belief, I am unlovable, I'm broken, I'm damaged goods. So notice what comes up for you as you're breathing, staying grounded, and thinking about that. What is it that you believed about yourself when you were a child? Our nervous systems develop believing that we're on our own and that we have to protect ourselves. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves from our adults, from parents. Sometimes it's more that we're just on our own in the world. We don't have anyone caring for us. And when that happens, we develop a hard shell and we have trouble trusting people. Let's give ourselves a minute or two just to sit with that. Children need connection and safety. Notice the energy in your body right now. Notice the whole space your body is in. What's going on in that space? What are the thoughts in your mind? What's happening in your breath? I didn't have secure attachment. Nobody cared about me. They didn't protect me. One of the reasons that we stay really present in our body and in our breath, we stay in awareness or in presence, is that we want to be sure to let our nervous system know that we're not back in our childhood situations. We're here in this moment. And we have an adult self who's here with us. So even if that child is really present, that sense of hurt or being alone is really present, that we're not alone, our adult self is here. Let your shoulders soften as you breathe out. If you're clenching your teeth, let that release a bit. Let your breath become a bit smoother. So we have this kind of a split or opposite ends of something. Our adult self sees another person as their own person, and we honor their right to be free to be exactly who they are. And then all of those younger selves in us that never really felt safe or that felt hurt, felt alone, that part of us needs safety, reassurance, soothing. And we rightly look to other people for that. That's part of how human beings evolved. We evolved in families, small family, extended family, in tribes. We looked out for each other. People had a role. Some people were the kind of more protectors, some were the more nurturers. Those developed along gender lines to some extent as well. In our whole evolution, we've had this experiences of not really being allowed to express exactly who we are because we had to put the welfare or the prosperity of the whole group sometimes had to go ahead of our own personal interests and expression. And shaming came from that. My mom's side in particular were farmers, pioneer farmers, and there was a lot of uncertainty about survival, and there was a lot of pressure to not be navel gazing, but to be working hard, being productive, so that you could contribute to the survival of your family. So bring to mind someone who you want to work with, a relationship that you want to work with during this inquiry. And it'll be someone who, in your adult self, you know that they're a person in their own right and that you care about them. And there's also something you need from them that you want to look into. Sometimes that need for safety can override our ability to really let other people be who they are. We resist what we can't really handle. So bring that to mind, bring them to your heart center, And just let yourself really feel your love for that person right now, just as they are. There might be resistance here too. That's fine. Just let yourself feel into that and into your adult self commitment that you don't need them to change. You want them to be happy in who they are. So before we get into the other part of that, just see what's here around that. Notice how you care about them. And then the next thing to drop in here is I need them to change. I'm really happy that this person is out doing their own thing and enjoying new friends, and I need them to change in this way. I need them to pay more attention to me. I'm a little jealous or I'm a little insecure. Notice what's here. There could be a lot of other things going on. When I'm feeling emotionally vulnerable, I need them to be really present with me. This is how I need them to change. And don't worry about being an adult in this. This isn't coming from our adult self. Let yourself feel it in your heart. And what age? Is there a sense of an age? What is age is a self who needs them to change? And what kind of things are they saying? And we're not talking necessarily about abusive people. We might be talking about someone who has a fight response. And when they get frustrated or tired, they go into a fight response. They speak sharply or yell. And the other person goes into more of a freeze and really doesn't have much tolerance for being yelled at because of their own past history. So we could be talking about two really good people who care about each other a lot, but have a mismatch in some way. And when that happens, it's like, can't they see? Don't they care about me? What's going on here? Why can't they just be the way I need them to be? And let's give that a minute or two. Why can't they be what I need them to be? And what is it that you need? Notice your feet on the floor, your seat. Notice your body and your breath. And at some point, you might want to bring your adult self to the front. Let yourself attune to the child and comfort them. I know you want someone to take care of you, to take care of us, and I'm an adult. I'm enough. I can do this. We don't need someone else. I would prefer to have someone be perfectly attuned to us, and that's okay. And notice if you're disconnecting from yourself at all. See if you can stay present. It might be that you come back into your body and breath for a moment. Really look into what's your relationship with that younger part of yourself. And can your adult self be the comfort and security that your younger self needs? I know what to do. I'm an adult. You're not alone anymore. And as an adult, how would you reframe the sentence around, I need them to change in this way? Can you see if there's a possibility that that could be more of a preference than a need? I really love it when they attune to me completely and they comfort me when I'm feeling hopeless or left out of something, or I really prefer not to have to do this regulation by myself. I love it when they're there for me. And I also don't need that the way I did when I was a child. And sometimes we visualize ourselves at that age. We might visualize putting an arm around a child or hugging them. Let's give it another minute or so. Can we work with this adult self who sees that the other person has the right to be free to be who they are? That their job in this lifetime is not to take care of us, and that we could let our adult self be the consistent presence. Our own adult self could be trustworthy. Eckhart Tolle's quote here is that when you realize it's not personal, so someone else's actions aren't personal, there's no longer a compulsion to act as if it were. And when I read that, I just thought how complicated that is. So it feels personal. When someone yells at us or when they turn away from us, it feels personal. And it takes a lot of stability and being grounded and practice, I would say, as well, to really regulate ourselves again and look at the circumstance, let ourselves come back from being flooded if we are, and really to see that person is acting out of their own history, their own needs. None of us are fully emotionally regulated and mature at all times. So, what happens when we sit with that? I'm an adult who's developing a wider window of tolerance for people being who they are instead of who I need them to be. And this is nervous system, this is neuroception. When we feel shaky, when we feel not loved or included, we're not as steady. It takes work to develop that wider window of tolerance. And I also long for someone to love me and protect me and be 100% safe and reliable. And don't we all love that? The romantic comedies and romance movies are really a testament to how much we want to be loved and protected and safe. And as adults, we know that we can't take someone else's capacity personally. So let's look at that for a moment, kind of pause there. So if you're looking at a relationship with somebody, this person that you're working with, or somebody else might be coming to mind. Well, when I phone, I feel like all they do is talk at me. I need them to listen to me. And then we might be looking at that and think, well, in fact, I know what's going on with them. They have a lot going on right now, or maybe that's a habit. They just don't have the emotional maturity and bandwidth to really be there for me. So that's not personal to me. That's something going on with them. And if this is a friend, we might move on to another friend, but oftentimes these are family relationships. So if we take it personally, well, what, do they think I'm stupid? Why do they keep doing that? Why do they keep over-explaining? Why do they keep talking all the time? None of these things have to do with us. They have to do with that person and their capacity to be regulated, and that's not personal. It's not personal. I didn't cause it, and I can't fix it. So notice how true that feels. I shouldn't take other people's low capacity for connection personally. And again, dip into that part of you that does take it personally, that is hurt by it. When someone isn't able to connect with us, it hurts our feelings. Perfectly legitimate. And being careful not to jump too quickly either. Don't jump into, I shouldn't expect anything from them, or it's my job to always understand them. And don't let them off the hook in the sense of taking on some kind of shame or blame yourself. Just to look at it kind of with clear eyes. And then, given what we know about their capacity, there's that part of us that just wants someone to take care of us or someone to do something different. If they would just do this thing or not do this thing, then I would be able to relax and be happy. So it might be some kind of an addiction if they would just stop drinking so much. Or if they would just stop looking at me with contempt. If they would use a different tone of voice. Then I would be able to relax and be happy. Notice your breath. Notice your body. We're here in this moment in time. And we really want something to be different. So, what's your response as we go through these last few inquiry sentences? I can afford to be authentically and powerfully my adult self. I can afford to encourage others to be who they are, regardless of my needs. I accept it is not their job to take care of me. I'm enough on my own, and I love the richness of relationships. And I accept that my nervous system really does better when I'm connected and I have people to co regulate with and have fun with and enjoy my life with. That's how we're built. And sometimes I'm really disappointed. Sometimes I really feel alone. And sometimes in that aloneness, I really want other people to serve me in a way. I want them to put aside what they need and I want them to take care of me. And again, be aware of yourself as an adult and of the younger parts of yourself that really want something from someone else that's maybe not reasonable for an adult to want from another adult. See if you could let yourself have your feelings, your experience without shaming yourself. I accept it is not someone else's job to take care of me. And to really just kind of let all of that be here. There's a part of us that objectifies other people and that on some level doesn't really care what they want. We do and we don't. We just want them to get it together so they're not torturing us anymore, or so that we could have a connection with them, or that when we are really needy and we're really needing some comfort, that they're reliably there for us. And that's in a relationship, there's a back and forth with that. We're there for them, they're there for us. In good relationships, it's, relatively equal. And there's other relationships where the other person just doesn't seem to have the capacity to be there for us. Or maybe it's in some relationships, we don't have the capacity to be there for other people. And one thing that we can always work with is being there for ourselves. Staying connected, not shaming ourselves for being human, not putting pressure on ourselves to be evolved so that we're always regulated. We never feel jealous. We never have a sense of neediness. That's not really practical. Maybe we could finish if you wanted to put your hand back on your heart again. I really honor my own good heart, that I'm taking responsibility. I'm really working with this. I'm seeing clearly. I'm being patient. I'm being kind. And I am fiercely on my own side. And I'm not throwing someone else under the bus to be taken care of. So that we have that integrity in our actions. And then let all of that move to the background. Let yourself really feel into your heart center. Relax your mouth and jaw, your neck and shoulders. Notice your breath. Take a few deep breaths if you want. If you want to shake it out, you could flick it off the ends of your hands or shake your body for a moment. Offer yourself some kindness and love and compassion. And then when you're ready, open your eyes, finish the inquiry.